Good morning, friends. Day before yesterday, the Honorable Supreme Court of India, Chief Justice of India, Shri Nutalapati Venkatramana, and another Justice, Anirudh Bose, both of them have given very important guidelines in a case of dowry death, that is 304B of the Indian Penal Code. You can refer this case as Satbir Singh versus State of Haryana. Actually, this appeal came in 2020. Now, this while disposing the criminal appeal number 1735 by 2010 on 28/5/2027, the Honorable two judges bench opined that the scope of Section 304A IPC should not be interpreted in the strict sense. It should be interpreted in the literal or liberal sense. So particularly the word soon before death. So it should not be interpreted as immediately before death. There should be proximate and live link between the death and the dowry harassment. This is the crux of the judgment given by Honorable CJI. Now, let us go into the details of the case. So here, the appellant, that is Satbir Singh, actually he is the accused in this case. So he was married to the deceased, that is his wife, on 1/7/1994. But on 31/7/1995, almost 1 year and 1 month, she committed suicide by dousing herself with kerosene. Actually, on 31/7, the parents of the deceased, they received information that her daughter was ailing and she was in a hospital, and they did not inform that she died. So immediately she, along with their family members, came to the hospital, and ultimately by the time they reached the hospital, the woman died. So that means, so it was established, a case was also registered that she committed suicide, unable to bear the harassment regarding the dowry. Right? So it was treated as a dowry death. You may be knowing about Section 304B of the IPC, and also shifting of the burden of proof on the accused under Section 113B of the Indian Evidence Act. Right? Now, the accused was tried, and the trial court has given him 7 years punishment under Section 304B IPC, and also 5 years under Section 306 IPC to him and his parents. Right? So now they went in appeal to the Honorable High Court. High Court also confirmed the judgment given by the lower court. Ultimately, the approach of the Supreme Court. Of course, Supreme Court also allowed the same. So there is no reduction of the punishment. Now, as advocates, we have to hear the defense part. So the advocate, on behalf of the appellant, that is Satbir Singh, he stated that, so even though the allegation is that she committed suicide, there is a possibility of possibility of accidental fire. So that has not been looked into by the IO. Second, there is no proximate link between the dowry harassment and her death. Actually, she alleged that soon before, even immediately after the marriage, she was subjected to dowry harassment, but the prosecution could not prove as to how the harassment took place. They could not prove the dates on which harassment took place. They could not prove the money where they secured and gave to the appellant like that. So they are not able to prove the allegation of the so-called harassment for additional dowry. So therefore, when there is no harassment for additional dowry, and when it is a case of accidental fire, the accused has to be set free. The appellant has to be set free. That is the plea from the appellant side. Of course, Supreme Court did not accept it. Anyway, they have allowed the appeal, but still the same punishment is. Now, the point is in this connection, so the Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court of India, made so many observations, and they have given certain guidelines also. First of all, let us look into the observations made by the Supreme Court. Number one, dowry deaths are accounting for 40 to 50% of the deaths occurring in India for the past decade, that is right from 1999 to 2008. So they are called as pestiferous crimes. Pestiferous crimes where women are subjected to cruelty by the so-called covetous husband, covetous husbands, and also their in-laws, right? So in 2019 alone, about 7,115 cases of dowry harassment, dowry deaths were registered under section 304B IPC. So no doubt, even though in the year 1961 the Dowry Prevention Act came to curb the menace, it was not successful. Ultimately, in the year 1983, the amendment 498A has come. Ultimately, it was also not successful. And lastly, the 304B also has come. Of course, still the cases are being continued. Now, what is 304B? Let us know what is section 304B. So please remember, to make out a case under 304B, a woman should have died of burns or other bodily injuries or otherwise than under normal circumstances within 7 years of marriage. And if it is shown that soon before her death, she was subjected to cruelty or harassment by her husband or in-laws, so with any demand for dowry, it will be called as the so-called dowry death. So 2 points are important: 7 years of marriage and soon before death. So normally over the years, the courts interpreted the phrase soon before means immediately before. So this interpretation actually makes it necessary that woman should have been harassed just prior to that, the moments before she died. So such absurd interpretation should be avoided. So there should be, CJI says there should be proximate and live link between the harassment and her death. So it means the harassment might have been continued for the past 1 or 2 years. So here, please remember, definitely the makers of the intent of the makers of the so-called legislation should also be taken into consideration. Therefore, the Supreme Court gave the following conclusions. Number one, section 304B must be interpreted keeping in mind the legislative intent, why it was made. Second, the prosecution must establish the ingredients of section 304B first. So once the ingredients are established, definitely the burden of proof shifts to the accused under section 113B of the Indian Evidence Act, right? Please remember, the prosecution must establish the existence of the proximate and a live link between the dowry harassment and the resultant death, right? Then section 304B should not be seen in the so-called pigeonhole approach. I told you the Salman and Winfold case, whether it is a case of tort or law of torts. So pigeonhole theory, here it will not stand. So open-mindedness should be there. And please remember, prosecution should be careful in conducting the trial. So as well as examination of 313. Normally it has being on a mechanical manner. We should not be there. So 313, it should be given to the accused a chance to defend himself. And it is nothing but adi alternam partem. That means here the other side, right? So the court must put the incriminating circumstances and seek the response of accused also in this connection, right? So of course, if the accused innocent, definitely 232 CRPC should be applied, and ultimately, normally we know that the dying cases, dowry deaths are increased, but at the same time, the family members other than the husband, they are also being unnecessarily roped in. This should be taken care of. That means you should be careful. The IO should be careful before arresting them. So please remember, all these directions, they are made as conclusions in the judgment, which is a very good judgment. So you should not forget in this 304B case, the Kartari Singh versus State of Haryana. Of course, they are very useful to the prosecution. At the same time, they are very useful to the defense also. With these words, I put a full stop. Thank you very much.